Hey, everybody. Welcome aboard today. Now, hypothetically, this is going to be a short stream, but I think this is going to be kind of an interesting one, especially for you folks over on, I think, the YouTube side who are maybe coming along later. I was thinking we might do a little bit of a new, in fact, it's actually such a great idea that let me capture this title real quick. Yeah, I'm going to hold on to that. We might need that later. For today's set, we have LEGO Creator 31142, the Space Roller Coaster. Do I have a post-it note? Yeah, this was going to be set 14 in the lineup, and it's what we're grabbing today for a variety of reasons. Let's talk about what those reasons are. Because, well, one, it's great to talk to you guys, and two, I think it's just kind of always interesting to kind of look at what sort of how are we putting together this Lego city, and what have we got to do over the course of that. I'm going to play with this little minifigure while we're talking about that, because I'm not ready to open up all these pieces. Well, actually, I guess I can kind of like loosely start opening up the set here. So let's talk while I kind of loosely open up this set. Why this one? So here's the thing. In my Lego City, the roller coasters are part of the amusement park. And the amusement park is part of the boardwalk. If you've ever been to, my inspiration for the boardwalk is, is it called Ocean City in New Jersey? I didn't grow up on the East Coast of the U.S., and I didn't grow up in New Jersey, but I spent some quality time there. And when I think boardwalk, I think that place. I think you've got the sand-covered wooden board pieces, and you walk around, and there's like roller coasters and amusement parks and stuff. Some people think Disneyland. I really wasn't that interested in making explicitly a Disneyland section within my Lego City, although gigantic asterisk in that because of a project that we may look at, small scale project that we may look at in 2027 next year. So the roller coasters are in the amusement park. The amusement park is on the boardwalk. But there's a problem with that. There's limited space on the boardwalk. Technically, I think it's 8 feet wide, which sounds like a lot. Is it 8 feet or is it 4 feet? I think it's 8 feet. I think it's 8 feet wide, which sounds like a lot, but one 32 by 32 base plate is 10 inches. So I only get a little over 8, 9-ish of those, which is not a lot. And when you look at the width of both of these sets, roller coasters might be bigger than 32 inches. I have to think about this, but so let's talk about what's there. How many roller coasters is enough? So it really is going to depend pretty heavily. It's really going to depend pretty heavily on sort of what your vision for your city is. The first roller coaster that I got, and if you look in the top right where we've got we've got Brickset pulled up, and we've got my collection. I have this set. This set is called the Pirate Roller Coaster. I think this might have been the first real Lego roller coaster that I picked up. And it's a great set. It's a classic Creator 311 set. It's themed on pirates, and I built this, and I filed it away to put in the city. Here's the thing. This set is really long. I think it's more than one base plate wide, although I might have condensed it to make sure that it fit within just 32 studs. I think I did that. But when you look at how deep it is, I think it's like 3 or maybe even 4 base plates deep. Now look at that. Think about that in the context of my city. So in my city, the beach, the boardwalk, the amusement park, the first 24 studs, don't worry about why it's 24 instead of 32. The first 24 studs are boardwalk, okay? The second 32 studs are beach, and then the beach is done. After that, by the time you get into the third base plate, and like I said, this one is 3 or 4 deep, now you're literally in the ocean. And yeah, so we could look at my notes on like all the parts I have to use to, I mean, look at this. It's empty in the middle. You have to use a lot of parts to make this thing work. Yeah, so that's a lot. So I place this in the city. It takes up a full base plate. Again, so I could have 9 creator roller coasters, and that would be my entire. Where's my finger? My entire boardwalk, my entire beach, and the start of my entire ocean. We're not doing that. But Lego releases some really cool roller coasters when we start going through here. So the first one was easy. It takes up a lot of space, but it's a cool set. It's a roller coaster. It's classic from 2018. It goes up and down, and that was that. I think I ended up getting this one secondhand on eBay for like $70, maybe less. We could check my history, but I did that a couple years ago. Great. Takes up a lot of space. And then Lego starts releasing new roller coasters all the time. So the next one that really, really, really caught my eye was this one, Robot World. Now, this is not a Creator 3-in-1 set, but for all intents and purposes, it's still a Lego City Creator, whatever. And this one, so I started thinking, what do my Lego minifigures want to see? One second. Let's flip this over. I was like, what do my Lego minifigures want to see in the Lego City? There's only one place they can really go for their roller coaster fix. And that's the boardwalk. And they also need to, like, swim and enjoy the beach and stuff like that. And maybe get in the ocean and have boats. So, like, do I really want to give them, like, if Lego is going to release a new Lego City roller coaster every, like, 1 to 2 years based on a different classic Lego theme, the first one was easy, right? Pirates. This is a slam dunk. It's beach themed. It's literally already on sandy parts. We've got the what do you call that? The El Dorado Fortress over to the right. I've got a full scale model of that. Further in the city, pirate ships. We love pirates. This is a perfect roller coaster. It's not a very interesting roller coaster for us, the human consumer, but from a Lego City perspective, this roller coaster makes sense being on the beach. And then I started thinking, Disneyland. All right, what kinds of amusement park rides do you have besides? Oh, hold on. We're just talking about roller coasters. What kind of roller coaster themes might you have in a Disneyland or whatever? Well, pirates is a big one, but also space is a big one. Volcanoes is a big one, or mountains. We'll come back to that. And so Lego releases Robot World. I love Robot World. It's an homage to the classic Lego Exoforce theme, which I have almost all of. But do I need a modern day rebuilt version of a Lego Exoforce set that I already have? And this facade is super cool. This facade with all the futuristic black and panels and stuff was really, really tempting to me to use as a city building. And we have another project coming up this year that like this would have fit in really, really naturally on, and I'm still kind of vaguely considering it for that purpose. But okay, then where do you stop? So then Lego releases, where is it? Space Roller Coaster. That's what's in front of us right now. Space, very, very classic, like Space, Pirates, Castle, those are the classic themes. But do I want 3 roller coasters that are all fairly identical? I actually don't remember what I was thinking. I think when I bought this late last year, I think what I was thinking was, well, it's going out of style soon. Is that a little alien head in there? What is that piece? Maybe. No, it's an eyeball piece. I was thinking the set is going away. Let's make sure to buy it. And at the time, what I thought was, hey, we can have 3. We can get the classic 3 Lego themes. We can have a pirate roller coaster, a space roller coaster, and someday they'll release a castle roller coaster if they haven't already that I'm forgetting about. And then 1, 2, 3. But today, when I was thinking about this, again, I start thinking about it like this. Well, okay, well, lava... Where is lava? Where is Lava Brickset? Here it is. In 2026, LEGO released Lava World, another LEGO City roller coaster. Look at this frame. This is the exact same set as Robot World, just with a Power Miners rock monster instead of a robot. And I love the tribute to the classic LEGO themes. This set is amazing. This set is absolutely amazing. I love that they introduced the LEGO pieces. I love the homage. People like these tracks and carts of different colors. But I don't think this set is really for me, unless I was going to put it in my volcano, which is a different... I don't think this set is for me. And then there's another one they released this year. Look at this. This is, come on, Brickset, the Mermaid roller coaster ride. Now this is beach themed. So I could put this beside the Lego Pirates roller coaster, and those would be like a perfect set of two for my Lego minifigures. But look at the frame. Look at the foundation. It goes up, and it swirls down. You're not going to believe it. This is the exact same set as Lava World, Lava Land. This is the exact same set as Robot World. And I'm telling you, there's going to be more and more sets like this. Although I do collect Lego mermaids, and I love the little shell that the mermaids are coming out of. So I think I have this tagged as a want, because I might literally get this set, grab those mermaids, and then either put this in my undersea area as like their transit system. That's kind of cool, big brain idea. Or maybe sell the rest of it back on eBay, which again I do when I try to part out Lego sets. The point is, what I don't need is a bunch more Lego, like 5,000 different, one roller coaster for every theme that Lego's ever made. Where do you stop? Lego Western and Indians, Lego Bionicle roller coaster. I could see that. Lego 8 feet. Limited space on the boardwalk, plus storage. For me, price, I'm not like mega wealthy or anything. I think about price, but price isn't the biggest consideration. The biggest consideration is free space. It's funny I say space, meaning like space in a room when I put my hands on this Lego space set. The biggest consideration is free space. So when I bought this space set at the end of last year, I think I was thinking I'll make the big three: Pirates, Space, and Someday Castle. But today, as I was thinking about this, I thought Space is big. Space is like the single biggest roller coaster theme out there in the real world. So I'm okay with having this set. But I looked at this set and I see two problems here. Now we're looking at the camera in the bottom right instead of up top. Two problems. First problem: this roller coaster curves over in a infinity shape. That means this roller coaster is at least 2 base plates wide plus deep. That's unacceptable for the city. I mean, there's some other things I could do with that, but I'm loath to give up 2 spaces worth of boardwalk and 2 spaces worth of beach. Plus, if it's any deeper and it extends into the ocean, I don't feel like that. And sure, maybe I could make a version of this roller coaster that curves back up top and then it comes around. But then again, at that point, I have the exact same Lego set as the Pirate roller coaster with a very slightly different layout. It doesn't even have the spiral that like 3 or 4 of those other Lego sets we were talking about have. Again, I really like this mermaid one, but I'm going to use it for an entirely different purpose. Transit system, that was brilliant. It's the exact same Lego set. So instead, I had a big brain idea. I said, let me go into my brick set and look at just what I own, my collection, tagged roller coaster or tagged fairground. Here we go. You guys ready for this? This is pretty cool. I've been yapping for like 14 minutes, but okay, so look. I've got this Ferris wheel. I didn't buy the biggest Ferris wheel that Lego ever made, and now they've just remade this set, but I like this one. It's got fun colors. It can be easily motorized. And look at this. It's not even 1 base plate wide. It's only 16 studs deep. That's incredible. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I don't need the biggest version of the set. I want a diversity in my Lego City for the minifigures. Okay, so we got a Ferris wheel. We talked about I've got this roller coaster. It's my one and only. We talked about, okay, so here's a flying carousel that spins around. I like this set. It's very cool. Also only 16 studs wide. Love the economization. That doesn't count. I haven't built this set yet, but I've got a bumper car ride and a swing ride. That's cool. I can stack these in depth. So this is literally only half a base plate. Super neat. I've got these magical funfair stalls. Classic fairground stuff. Again, makes me think of the Jersey Boardwalk. Am I thinking of Ocean City or Atlantic City, or what am I thinking of? Ocean City's Maryland. I think I might be thinking of Atlantic City. I've got this water park. I think I showed this water park on stream at some point. We came back and did some editing work to finish it out, and then I think I actually took it back to storage, or maybe it's back there somewhere. That was cool. That's for the residential area. This carousel ride, this is a traditional carousel. Again, it's only 16 studs deep. super neat, perfect for me. I actually don't remember building this at all, so maybe this is sitting back there ready to be built somewhere. Or maybe it's right behind me. Is that set right behind me? Mimi, can you see? I think we might have a cat guest appearance today because she's like, why are you streaming at 7 Eastern? You're supposed to be done 2 hours ago. I have this. I actually mostly have this set because it has the simplest, cheapest available Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy minifigures out there. I haven't decided how we're going to incorporate this, but we'll probably make this into like a little Disney area, maybe on the same base plate depth-wise as this carousel or something. I don't know. And we'll probably take these tracks and hide them away somewhere. That's a good idea for me. I better remember that. We have this one. This is a cool little promotional set. We got a banana hammock. We got a strength test. Strength test, classic amusement fair stuff. And then I have one more bumper car. And that's it. I also, so if we go away from the fairgrounds tag and we go back to roller coaster, there's a couple other things I have that come from actually the Lego Super Mario theme, which I thought was a pretty clever way to do this. So we've got the Big Urchin Beach Ride. So this is a tilty roller coaster, kind of like what they were trying to do in that Lego Mickey and Minnie set. This is super cool. I loved how this tilty roller coaster came out. And I think I was able to get this to 16 base plate wide. I can't remember. I have this lava wave ride. Again, very classic type of roller coaster thing. I think I've built this. I'm mostly sure that I built this. Have I put it on a base plate? I don't remember. And that's it. So that's my entire fairgrounds. But at some point, you start to have almost every Lego. Okay, I promise I'm almost done with the explanation here. But I think this is cool to think about, like, you know, Lego City considerations. Like, do you just buy every set they ever make? Like, you run out of space at some point. You can always buy more rooms, more house, but who wants to pay for that? In this economy? Are you kidding me? No, I want to think critically about it. So it comes back to here. So I said I originally bought this Lego Space roller coaster because I thought 3 roller coasters is fine. And now I think I don't want 3 roller coasters, especially one that's double wide. But before I sent it back, I thought space is the most popular roller coaster theme in the real world. Don't quote me on that statistic. I just made it up. But 2, we do have these 2 alternate models here. And the first alternate model is a hanging UFO ride. We've already got one of those. We showed it. The second alternate model is a drop tower. Now, on the one hand, I think a drop tower is actually something super cool. So let's open, again, we're coming to the top right. We're looking at Brickset again. Drop tower. Let's look at all the drop towers that Lego's ever made. This doesn't count. Here's one. So this Lego Friends drop tower, it goes up. This was a really cool Lego Friends set. I don't have this, but look. Ferris wheel, very large roller coaster, ticket booth with a turnstile, and a drop tower. Drop towers are pretty neat. This Lego Batman set had a drop tower. It's based on like a piranha plant, I guess. And a motorbike Wheels of Fire. That's kind of neat too. Plus a ducky Ferris wheel. I don't know. This must be from like the idea of like classic Lego Batman. Also, it has a Beast Boy minifigure. I don't think I have a Beast Boy minifigure. Has he been made in any other sets? Teen Titans Go Team Pack with Raven. And they look... Well, it's from Teen Titans Go instead of the classic Teen Titans. So I don't really particularly care for that. But noted. But this one... This Beast Boy looks kind of legit. And it's got Starfire? Very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Also, look, this Teen Titans Go pack is worth 56 smackers now. It was originally 25. Yeah, I'm going to tag this to watch it, but I don't anticipate buying that set anytime soon. Sorry, that was a distraction. Back here, drop towers in Lego. You could rebuild the UFO carousel as a drop tower, which this only costs $50. And then there's this Haunted Fair Tower from Lego Hidden Side, which this is very much a play set. And it has I see a lot of stickers. I see an unfinished roller coaster. This is kind of cool, but it's now worth $35. Let me think. What is this? Let me see. Images. I think there's a play function here. Okay, so there's this smiley clown face that I guess splits apart when you do the drop tower. I will loosely consider this set. I think they did some interesting things here. I love a cool play feature. I love this clown splitting apart. Feels very amusement park. And for the reasons we're about to talk about, Nah, I think we're good. It's a cool set. So, Lego's done very few drop towers. Here's a drop tower. Okay, Kira, so that's your solution, right? Let's go to Lego Space Roller Coaster. Look at the images, and let's take a close look at this drop tower. Here's the drop tower. Look at this. It's a neat chair lift. You've got 2 people can ride this at once. That's an improvement over, I think, every other drop tower we saw, except for maybe the Friends one. All had 1 minifigure at a time. And it's got a smart mechanism to actually raise the tower. And it's on a very small space profile. This looks like it might be 12 by 12. I don't think it's even 16 by 16. But then look at this. The rest of the set is dominated by this fake space shuttle and rocket boosters build and this little ride ship for a baby astronaut. And when I think about placing this in the city, sure, it's not going to take up a lot of space, but also look at this. I'm basically only getting a 12 stud by 12 stud drop tower. And again, the retail value of this Lego space set was $110. Let's assume I got it on Amazon for 20% off, 80 bucks, 90 bucks. I just don't think that this teensy little drop tower, because again, where's my hand? Can I cut out? No, I can't. I can't put my hand in front of that page. It's not worth 80, 90 bucks. So before I gave up on the set, again, I'm telling myself space is the most popular roller coaster theme. I said, is there anything else I can do that's going to make this worthwhile? So I went to our old trusted and true Rebrickable.com. And folks on Rebrickable have made this drop coaster build. Now, let's take a look at this build here. This is a drop coaster, so it is a roller coaster, but it's a completely different type of roller coaster than what we have in the Pirate Roller Coaster or what all those other Creator 301s that are all, or Lego City sets that are all the same set with different makeup on. This is a real roller coaster. You see there's 2 things here. It says drop with brick-built words, and it uses all the parts. And there was some discussion on Brickset basically saying the person went in and like actually really worked hard to improve the stability of the set. And now we have a different type of roller coaster that suddenly, to me, actually makes a lot of sense as something that would be really potentially cool to include in my city, to include on my boardwalk. And it looks like it's going to be 32 wide, but it's not super deep, so this is not cutting into my ocean. I think it'll look pretty nice beside my roller coaster. And again, space, popular theme. I don't know, guys. I thought, let's do this one. Let's do this drop tower alt build. And that is how I answered the question today of how many roller coasters. So let's get into it. So let me go over to, you guys will still be able to hear me, but let's do... I don't remember what this is. I don't remember which screen this is. Let's do... Be right back with the timer. And all I'm doing here is I'm logging in to Rebrickable. I mean, you can still see that up there. It's a hidden password and stuff. I guess that could have been trouble. That's fine. I just logged onto Rebrickable, and now let's go back. And I should be, and then if I refresh, yeah, I'm logged in. You see I'm level 4. I've purchased a few. So we've talked, separate conversation, we've talked about it a few times, so I'm not going to repeat it ad nauseum. But, hey, look at that. It just immediately popped up. I've purchased a few instructions for alternate builds on Rebrickable because I really believe in alt builds. Because I believe that for my family's future, if I'm going to buy all these Lego sets, I probably should make sure they're still resellable. I like alt builds because I can always put them back in the box and send it back. Although, at $109, this does not meet my threshold for keeping the box and instructions. Sorry, it's a nice box, but it's not that nice. So we're going to do this alt build here, and we're going to do it right today. So actually, let's go back to... can we do aerial with POV while I go ahead and get these... Yeah, while I get these bags opened up. So that's what we're doing today. We're doing this alt build. So my thanks to Dino Dude 789, who made the original design for a drop coaster out of this set. and to Crazy 8 Ron, who apparently went in and refined the design and made it better. Now, the worst part about the beach and boardwalk, these are the absolute. These are literally the absolute most expensive parts sets for me to add parts to and put into my city. Because I have to buy parts for the boardwalk. I have to buy parts for the beach. Hey, Kit Kat. How you doing? Oh, so yeah, I'm not on camera today just because because I'm feeling lazy with having started. There were a lot of considerations today, as you can see. So, but anyway, now we're into it. So, we don't actually need to organize the numbered bags. There's not too many of them. This set is only 800 pieces, luckily. But what we do need to do is we have to open up these 2 bags, which are unnumbered and have, you know, the roller coaster parts in them. So from my understanding, the innovation that was created for this Lego set was this piece right here. So we already had, in my pirate set, I've got, here it is. Look at the bottom right. I've got sloping up rails. I've got, where is one? All of these are sloping up rails. I've got curved rails. Pretend this is straight. But the real innovation in this set apparently was rails that are curved but also up. So, and again, as we saw with Robot World, Lava Land, Mermaid Amusement Park, this is now like a standard Lego piece that's used to make what is apparently the sole only standard Lego amusement park design that exists. It's also interesting to me that they only curve one way. I don't know that a piece has been created that's the same thing but inverted. Shrug. Don't know. Now, I don't think in the new setup we have yet built... here's like a regular curved part. I don't think that we've yet built anything that's an alt build where we just have to open all these bags and kind of sort the parts. It's kind of one of the worst parts, unfortunately. I guess I could have been doing this while I was yapping, but I don't think that I would have been very successful at yapping if I had actually done that. So, it's only 9 bags. It's not that bad. I could, you know, just dump them all out and hope for the best. We pray. But, nah. Just being methodical about this. And what I typically do is I sort, so normally actually I sort by type of part, but again, given that there are less than 1,000 pieces in this set, I might actually sort by color. Or I might not sort by anything because I'm feeling super lazy today. We're going to take all these super tiny bags and we'll open them last. I don't know, guys. You know, you just kind of make it work somehow. So yeah, this is a cool set. I like taking cool sets and just figuring out how can we how can we incorporate this in a way that makes sense. If you guys are out there and you're Lego fans, you've just got to find a way to make it work for you and for your build. Lego released a drop coaster set that was very popular. It's probably still available for purchase. It was $400. Again, I'm not that price sensitive, but it's so expensive. It's so big. Like, that set is like taking up like multiple modular slots in when you look online at people's Lego cities and they're all the same Lego city with, you know, 14 modular buildings, because people, like adult Lego collectors, really love building those modular buildings, and I think that's cool. But I'm just like, at what point do you just kind of think, I think I'm good. I think I like doing something a little bit different here. Get some more small bags. Also, for some reason I haven't figured out, here's another one of those from another set. Here's one of those little bags that, you know, has like parts that aren't numbered, like those roller coasters in this one. For some reason, my cat really likes chewing on those bags. I don't understand it. I'm like, is that extra tasty plastic? Maybe it's extra crunchy. Maybe it's got that crunch. You know, we all need that crunch. So yeah, kind of a mess. So that's all the big bags, and then I'm going to come over here. What I did not see was how many parts this MOC is using. This alt build is using. I like to call them alt builds because that's what they are. In this case, they're resellable. But as always, we will make sure that all of our parts are incorporated. So what we're going to do is we're going to build the build. We're going to need to use a bunch of websites today. So we used Brickset a lot, right? We went over to Rebrickable. At one point, we're actually going to head over to Bricklink, because what Bricklink will do is it'll tell us what were the extra parts to the set. And we want to get rid of those. They're all going to be from these little bags here. And I think I was warned that there's exactly one non-set piece in this set, and they told us what it is, and I know that I have extras of that laying around. So that's the set. We've now opened it up with my box cutter there. So let's go over to, thank you. So here, can I like star this and say I liked this MOC? Yeah, I said I liked this MOC. So now we're going to go to, what's this set number? 31142. We're going to bricklink.com. And I don't even need to log in for this. 31142. Space roller coaster. And what I'm doing is I'm going to go to the inventory. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the page, and I'm going to find what were the extra parts in this set. And we're going to pluck those out. So here's a black round 1x1 with an open stud. Here is a black Technic pin. Here is a sort of lily pad looking thing. Here's one of those. I have a big backlog of these little pieces that I have to sort away at some point. Here is one of those. Maybe? Question mark. There it is. It's one of these. Some of the little parts were just in bigger bags, so that's going to be annoying. These are apparently glow in the dark, so that's interesting. So I'll try to remember that. Maybe I'll store glow in the dark. I have to think about where I actually store glow in the dark parts. Not that it matters all that much. Then we need one of these. Lots of extra little parts. And you guys know this. Anytime you've ever opened up a Lego set, this is kind of what it looks like. One of these. One of these. Why am I doing this? Because we're not building the set by its instructions, which means otherwise we won't know what were the extra pieces that would otherwise have that we don't need to account for over the course of the set. Here's one of these. That's usually a Star Wars piece, which, I mean, I guess it makes sense. We're in space. Here's one of these. So this gold bar, 3 long. This is an extra piece, but the set builder told us we're actually going to need that to make this alt build. So we're going to set that one aside. One of these. One of these. Now we're into transparent pieces, so we'll be done pretty soon. Green. Blue. Orange. A little flamey fire. Candle flame. Red, yellow, and then into the white extra pieces. So here's a slope. Here is a tile. Where is a tile? Where is Kyle the tile? I really hope I'm not up all night doing this. I was hoping this would be like a short 1 hour-ish stream, but you never really know. Also, ordering the extra pieces for this, like I said, is going to be a total nuisance. There is Kyle the tile. And then we need a half-circle tile. And then we need a quarter tile. Round quarter tile. Someday they'll make non-round quarter tiles, and it will be transformational. And then we need an eyeball tile. Kyle the eyeball tile. That's probably this one. Yep. And that's the extra pieces. So now we can exit Brick Link, and we go to the instructions, and we have this mess of parts in front of us, but again, it's less than 1,000, so we should be okay to just jump into it. Let me take a couple seconds to have a quick sip of water and turn the AC up a little bit, and let's build this alt build, guys. All right, so it's only 85 pages. Again, hopefully the actual amount of ruffling that we need to do here is going to be relatively lower. So everybody wish me luck. Let's build this popsicle stand. So here, since we're working on an alt build, the instructions are sometimes going to be a little wonky. So we need to be extremely careful that we are using exactly the parts that are shown in the upper left-hand inventory. And luckily, for this time, you guys can actually see that inventory really, really clearly, which is great. And you guys who watch me a lot know that I often totally skip the step of actually grabbing the parts from above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I won't be doing that this time because it's too dangerous. He's too dangerous. He must stand trial. Just got those two. Yeah, we're just gonna... I mean, that's it. I know that was a lot of yapping as we got started, but that's all the yapping I really have to do. And look at this. We're just absolutely gonna blitz through this build. Not actually that many pages. Not actually that many pieces. But I feel happy with the choice here. I'm glad I have this set. I think it's a cool set, objectively speaking. But I just didn't really want to see... I think the aerial view works pretty well for us here. Although, let's take this down as far as I can. I just didn't really feel like having another roller coaster that looks identical to the one that I already have, let alone... And the nice part about this, with a set this small, is every single piece I pick up from the garbage pile makes it easier to see every other piece in the garbage pile. I just didn't really feel it in terms of making this, having, let alone, you know, just all these, come on, next page, all these roller coasters. It just didn't make sense to me, but this actually makes sense to me a bit more. Again, I'm literally going one piece at a time, so hypothetically I'm going to place up to 800 pieces here. Now, unfortunately, alt builds rarely use perfectly all the parts from the set, which is a constant nuisance to me. Whenever I build an alt build, I always use every piece in the set, because maintaining every piece in the set maintains the value of the set. And no, value isn't the only thing, but it's nice. Again, I think of my family. obviously building sort of a stable base here. And this is really going to go fast. I think this is going to be a fast stream. Now, we've talked a lot about the pipeline lately. I've said, you know, we're doing these 22 weeks of working through my Lego backlog that's all sitting out here in my primary space, and that it's super important to me to kind of get through that backlog. But I've also talked a lot, where am I? Oh, they're 2x3s. There's a lot of these compromises with parts too, where it's like, this set doesn't include a 2x6 dark bluish plate. So instead we use this two 2x3s and we get the same effect. But when I talk about this, the pipeline is about more than just today. It's about more than just my Sunday Lego builds. This is only the first step of 4 or 5-ish steps. And again, just to say it again, if folks are kind of joining this for the first time, that's be very careful here. The second step is ordering parts. And sometimes I have sets that I don't need to order parts for. This is not one of them. I'll probably need to order so many parts for this set, it's ridiculous. I honestly, like, so for example, last week we built the Viking Village, and then I ordered, although that's kind of, so the Viking Village cost what, $130? And then I spent $36 on extra parts for it, which is a little bit overinflated because I also purchased, I didn't, all I was buying for that set was water, which is really, really easy. So for the first time, I didn't sit there and count how many water tiles I was going to need because I know that I can make use of any extra water tiles that I don't immediately use, I'll be able to use eventually. But still, that kind of gives you a perspective that, you know, it adds a lot of cost. So step 1 is building here, and we have these build streams. We've been doing them for a while. Step 2 is you order extra parts. Step 3, and the step that haunts me in my sleep, is you place the extra parts. So, you know, my parts come in from Lego, and I have to actually sit down and put them where they belong. What's going on here? They go this way. So they just kind of helped me realize that this actually goes like so. It's got a different orientation than it looked like. Again, the instructions are not going to be precise in quite the way that Lego instructions are. But again, at least in this case, we know somebody specifically went back in and actively tried to make this set more legible than the original draft was. So I have a little bit of hope here. Step 2 is ordering the parts. Step 3, and the one that haunts me in my sleep, is placing the parts. Step 4 is not even to mention that, you know, I like to record what I've done and post about it on Instagram, and that's people love you guys love my Instagram, which I really appreciate. I'm just gonna have to hold these parts in my hand here. See this? Step 4 is moving the thing to my city instead of, you know, in my freaking living room. And then step 5 is integrating it into the city, which usually if I've done my job correctly, this is actually the easiest thing because I shouldn't need to make any further adjustments once it arrives at, you know, the city doorstep, so to speak. But sometimes it's tricky. That's trickiest when it comes to, well, you know, like sometimes you place something and you're like, oh, now that I'm actually looking at what's in front of me, I realize that I need to, is there like a weird halo on my, which camera is that? Is that my aerial camera? I guess I need to clean that later. You realize, oh, or maybe it's on my computer. Nope, it's not on my computer. Now that I see this in person, I actually want to move this over to here and this over to here, and I do that sometimes, but yeah, I haven't had a lot of time over the last, frankly, it's been almost, okay, this is an annoying step. Look at this. It's been a long time since I really spent some quality time with my city because the backlog has been so big. But last week, Build stream number 1. This is build stream number 2, right? For the big backlog bonanza. Oh, I gotta write that down too. Hold on. Yeah, hey, welcome aboard, Telly. Let's see. Yes. Like they're yeah. I mean that's the eventual idea is for that to be where the actual city is set up. And people do lots of different ways that they handle that. So, you know, some people have like multi-story houses and they have like a man cave or a gal shed or like a basement or like an extra room if they're or you know, it kind of all depends on what your situation is. But sheds and storage units I think are a pretty great way to do it because they're not taking space from your family in quite the same way. But yeah, it's kind of all up to folks. This is where I'm going to start. All right, I have to think for a second here because the longer we build this, again, it's not that many pieces, but the more that we're working on this, the more I'm going to lose my space here. So let's do it like this. I did not think this through. I did not think this through at all. Yeah, but I haven't spent any quality time with the actual city in a while because I've just had so much to do that it didn't really make sense to be going in there. The last big push that I did was I did a really big push with the city itself to line up and certify like the number of roads. Okay, think. All I really should need here is about 32 studs by 64, which this should be close to. I did a big push to try to make sure I had the right amount of literal roads, like in front of all the buildings or whatever, and we got pretty far on that. But like, just absolutely hundreds of dollars worth of roads. But I really like the. There's a lot of positive bonuses for me when I've bought the road set that Lego. First of all, context here, and I forgot to do the thing where I actually grab exactly the pieces needed, which again we're doing an alt build, so that could cause trouble. Context here. Lego's release, so like many adults, I never really fully got out of Lego, but I did slow quite a bit while I was away for undergraduate. And then I got back in. There's a couple of sets that I point to getting me back in, but kind of the big one is Lego Minecraft's The Village, which we've never shown on here, but it's a beautiful set. Got it over in the corner somewhere. And just kind of going, oh yeah, like there's so much potential to do things with Lego that I'd kind of forgotten about returning to it as like an adult medium and having the bigger picture in mind somehow. I hate these instructions. I always hate alt build instructions, but they do the best they can. Need to get like AI in here to like use the same program but output more legible instructions. So that's the set that got me in. But I was just sort of loosely snapping up like a few Lego sets that kind of spoke to me until in late 2019, Lego released their new Lego Roads Plate set. And let me see if I can see the set number from where I'm sitting. 6, is that a 0204? Maybe 60204 Lego Road Plates. And initially, a bunch of people who were, 40-year-old, 50-year-old dads and moms who've been making Lego cities since 1990 hated these because they were used to using 32 by 32 flat base plates and their entire world was built on that. But I'd never actually set up an adult city. So I went, this is the greatest system ever. It's actually way more flexible than the base plate system that the moms and dads had been using for the last 30 years. And slowly, over the course of very, very late 2019, very, very early 2020, like pre-COVID, I started seeing some Lego websites, maybe some of which were being paid to do it, but some Lego affiliate websites starting to post and say, hey, wait a second, guys, maybe these road plates are actually like kind of amazing because the flexibility that they offer. I talk a lot about grids on this channel. Like we had a big moment where we said, actually, I need to move my forest to being on a grid rather than not on a grid. Again, if you're those moms and dads where you've been making a city for 30 years now, as I slowly grab these parts, your grid is 32 by 32. There's no flexibility to that. I guess technically there were some base plates that were released that were 16 by 32 and 16 by 16, but sort of your basic unit of measurement was 32 by 32. And that excluded that it's like increasing the resolution of your screen to play a video game or watch this stream or watch a TV show. Because the base unit of measurement of the new road plates is 16 by 16. Literally think about zooming in your ability for creativity by 2 times. I think that's pretty cool. And so as I was saying, in late 2019 and early 2020, a couple of LEGO websites started picking up on this idea and going, hey, hold on, adult LEGO fans. I know that you think that this new system is just crummy stuff for kids, but actually, this might be really, really amazing in terms of our ability to be creative at a new level. And they were right. Over time, I've literally watched the narrative shift, even with some well-established collectors, where they're like, actually, the degree of flexibility that I have by basically thinking in 16 by 16 DPI is it's higher, and that's kind of cool. Why was I saying that? I guess the idea is just to reiterate that my city is built on a 1616 grid. My city is very integrates that 6204 LEGO road plate set. I've got 3 more of them unbuilt that I can draw on before I have to start ordering more. Definitely have lost the original point there, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, now I've got space to work with. Again, with this, every piece that I pick up gives me more space to see the pieces I still need to pick up, which is kind of fun. But I love set 6204 because not only do you get the road plates, but you also get a little bit of foliage, a little bit of like street lights, which my street light design is a hair more complicated than what they give you in that set, but not super, super duper more complicated. So that's nice. And then they also give you a bunch of 4x4 and 4x8 green Lego plates, which is amazing because then I use those as just literally the grass in my forest section, which is important because the forest is really, really big. So having a bunch of stuff to make as the ground in the forest is awesome, and I literally get it for free as a byproduct of buying the road plates. But the point I think I was trying to make was I did a really big push about a year ago to make sure that I had the proper amount of road plates for all the buildings I had at that time. And that was the last time I really did a really big push on the city because I had started accumulating this backlog, not just of unbuilt sets, but more importantly, of sets that I'd built and either not ordered the remaining parts for, or built and ordered the remaining parts for, but hadn't sat down and placed them. And, you know, if you're a Lego collector, like, and you have other responsibilities in your life, you know, partner, job, etc., you really have to think about, when am I going to have the time to actually really fully engage with this hobby? Right? Like, I think there's lots of people who have lots of different types of hobbies that are more than just buying it, right? Like, there's people who like painting like Warhammer miniatures, which I think that's like really, really cool. But you don't just buy your miniatures, you buy your paints, then you have to sit down and like actually paint that stuff. And if you don't, then you're just going to have a bigger and bigger backlog laying around. And maybe your spouse is yelling at you for spending the family's money and taking up the space, and all that's kind of valid because, like, no, you got to have a pipeline. I mean, I'm insane. We all know that. I'm insane, but I like to apply rigor and discipline to this hobby because it makes me feel it's more likely that I'll be able to continue to pursue it in a way that doesn't steal all the space and availability from my family over time. How do I line this up? I think it's like this. My freaking next page button is being sticky today, which is super annoying. I feel like it's so slow. Like, actually sitting here and grabbing the correct pieces for each step is like literally it's like I never do this. I just go zoom, 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 which always drives people crazy whenever I, you know, sit down and engage in Lego as like a shared hobby with anybody. They're like, slow down. I'm like, no. Gondor calls for aid, and we must answer. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, and this. How the heck is this built? So it's like this. This. But yeah, that's it. So that's why we're doing this big push. Here we go. And that goes on like so. That's why we're doing this big push to deal with the backlog. Like I said, it's really not that much about, I mean, it's a little bit about, hey, there's, you know, sets that I want to have not sitting around. But it's also about like, I want to, do the other parts, the ordering the pieces and the placing the pieces, and then finally the placing things back in the city. Because folks on Instagram are always begging me like, hey, show your city. Like, that's the coolest part of all. And I'm like, it's not ready. It's not ready. The time will come. I think it'll be maybe a quarter into 2027. We'll finally be doing some mega serious city work. If I am anticipating correctly here. But again, in the meantime, what matters is 22 weeks, 22 sets, just getting through all of these. Obviously, there's other sets I build in the meantime, like little easy sets, like whenever I pick something up just for its minifigures or just for, I don't know. There's lots of reasons. Sometimes I just think stuff looks cool. Like, they made a freaking airplane that was a shark, and I was like, that's freaking badass. I don't know. But usually when I am looking at things, I'm really evaluating on the basis of, how does this integrate into my city? How does this integrate into the larger space layout and storytelling of the city that I'm making, which in my crazy mind is all like, it's all, you know, it's all built out in my mind's eye, but it's going to take some time until that actually translates to being built out for real. Okay, where's this turntable? We got to build these minifigures at some point, too. Gotta find this turntable. At least I'm not getting this set secondhand. Oh my gosh. Then it takes forever to... Because then every time you go looking for something, you're like, do I actually have it? Did they forget some pieces? I haven't had to deal with that for a while. I haven't had to deal with that for quite a while, actually. A lot of. I had a big backlog of secondhand sets that I really worked on pretty heavily in. Was it 2025? Maybe 2024. I think. It was sometimes frustrating, but again, lots of really cool content for IG. Where is this turntable? Here's the top to the turntable. Okay. So it's either like right here. Yeah, no, people like those base plates. So I think... Hold on. This is going to drive me crazy. It's a black, empty turntable base. There it is. That's hard to see. Let me I've referenced this article, and I said it basically like changed my, it rejuvenated my experience with Lego / changed my life. So we might as well do them the credit of finding and linking it in the chat here, right? So New Elementary Lego New Road Plates 2019. I bet this is from June or July 2019. Oh wow. December 2020. I guess I was off by a year, but the point stands. So I'm going to actually link this in the chat. I don't do this very much, but let's try it out. I really... Thanks, chatbot. So yeah, this article I just linked in the chat here for both Twitch and YouTube. I was just like, yeah, it really just kind of transferred. But if you look at the discourse that was around that time before this article came out, like people were losing their minds over this base plate. Because first of all, like if you're a collector that's super duper invested into that older system of 32 by 32 flat base plates, also those flat base plates are literally only, they're less tall than the width of a Lego tile. They're literally skinnier than that. And the new base plates are 2 Lego plates tall, like this right here, 2/3 of a brick. They're that tall. So people were like, and now you're going to stop selling this thing that I've been invested in. And anybody who buys anything, it always sucks when, remember I said they warned us we're going to need an extra one of these, so let's use that now. It always sucks when you're invested in any kind of system. If you paint and they retire your favorite paint color, if you do houses and they retire your favorite furniture. I tore up a cabinet to make a cat, kitty, doggy door for my cat, and like, I sure hope they don't retire that cabinet before I'm able to replace it, you know, like that kind of thing, right? So I understand why people had strong reactions to it, but I feel that this article was kind of a turning point for some people. In fact, I even think Brickset, and we talk a lot about Brickset here, it's where I manage my collection and where I do intensive thinking. Like, we spent literally the first 30 minutes of this stream talking about Lego roller coasters and why I've chosen the ones that I've chosen for the city and why I will and will not be getting certain ones in the future, right? I love Brickset. I was one of the earliest users of Brickset back in like the very, very beginning days. I've got one of the oldest accounts on the site from when I was literally a kid on this site with tons of, I mean, the early pioneer days of the internet, right? Like the early democratization of the internet. Everybody was out there doing whatever they could. All right, I'm looking for a gray 4x4 dish, but maybe it's actually a 3x3 dish because here's this one. But my point is, I love and trust Brickset a lot, but I think even Brickset was really, really negative about the new road plates when they initially came out. I'm like, okay, I mean, you guys have a really big audience, but so seeing that article come out was pretty transformational, and I'm really glad because I've invested really heavily into that system, and you know, it's now been 6 going on 7 years, and now there's enough of those in circulation that frankly, like, even if they announced they were retiring tomorrow, which they're not, like, we can go on to Brickset and we can see 60204. I love doing this. I actually, I've got the wrong set number here, although I do own that set, I think. Maybe not. Road plates. We start scrolling. 60304. 60304. And Brickset says I own 38 copies of this set, for which I've paid, I think usually Amazon discounts these quite a bit below $20. They're usually like 14 or 15 or 16. So I haven't quite paid 20 times 30, 38. Don't do that math. Please don't do that math. I don't want to think about that. It's been 7 years, guys. But the point is, now there's enough of these in circulation that this humble little set, if they retire it, but look, launch to exit date TBA. They're not retiring this anytime soon. So I'm good. We're good. Whew, safe. But even if they did, like, it's fine. I could just, there's enough that I'll always be able to get more. Maybe at a little bit more than $20. But the point is, I know, don't do the math. That's what I'm saying, is don't do the math. It's so bad. It's the least of my problems, but it is one of them. Especially since I said I'm down to just 3 of them unopened. Although I have a stockpile, actually. Because the reason if you want to do some other math, the reason I bought the number that I did has to do with the fact that there's exactly one 8x16 crosswalk plate in that set. And I needed a certain amount of crosswalks for a 8 foot by 10 foot, 8 foot by 8 foot, 8 foot by 10 foot Lego city. So, like, you have you have 4 main intersections, that's 2 crosswalks each, 2, 4, 6, 8. You've got some other intersections around parks and things, blah, blah, blah. I did some specific math at some point 2 or 3 years ago about how many of those sets I needed to have as a baseline just to have the right amount of crosswalk pieces. And luckily, to this point, we still haven't quite used up that stockpile yet, although we're getting close, especially since I'm going to use up a few more of those for that pagoda, which is going downtown. And I have some really cool. I forget. I think on my Instagram I have like some of my road plate designs over time that I've made, and I've come up with some pretty clever ones. So, like, I have my main city roads work pretty much exactly like they show there, although they're double wide. Then I have my downtown roads are 4 lanes instead of 2 wide. And then I have residential roads are 1 lane wide, which requires a different piece entirely. And then we have I've come up over time with some really cool different intersections and stuff like that. And I like it. I think it's a neat. Again, I think the medium is flexible. I've invested in the medium because I believe the medium is flexible and it has a lot of return on my investment in it. So, where's this piece? It looks like it would be here with all these white pieces, but I have to remember this isn't actually organized. It just appears to be organized. I need white, and then I need black. Yeah, so I think it's a flexible medium. I like it. And I like when I think of my city and I think of what I'm doing with this, I really like having intentionality about the decisions I'm making. And again, for you guys who are watching on YouTube and you got to see the start of the stream, or anybody who's just tuning in, you might want to check out the first 14 minutes or so where I'm just like kind of talking about, Lego releases a lot of Lego roller coasters, and how do I make these really deliberate decisions about which ones I'm going to include in the city and why. And sometimes I change the decisions that I previously made. Or sometimes there's a set like this one where I'm like, I know that I want to have this, and I have a loose vision of how it's going to be used in the city, but I'm going to leave the specifics until I'm actually working with it. And then you get down to actually working with it, and you can do some magic. So, all right, is it time to connect all this yet? No, not quite. Just again, I want this one, the 1x4. We still playing over here? No. Any of you guys who are like crafters with like different, I think anybody who watches that, like, I could like clip this, and anybody who's ever like done a hobby and like had like their favorite paint color discontinued or something, like, I'm not, I get it. I get where folks were coming from. Like, that's devastating. It's the kind of thing that makes you rethink. It really makes you like question your investment in the product and whether it was worth it. Like how Stu Bagel and I really liked the X-Wing miniatures game. Oh boy, here we go. And then they discontinued that, and it's like, well, heck. I mean, maybe we can share this with kids someday or something, but basically, unless you find like, unless you do the work yourself to find hobby stores that are still I'm missing something here. No, I'm not. Oh, it's easier than it looks. Okay, hold on. It's like this. It's like this. Lego, this is physically not possible. That has to slide under there, which means I have to take this off. This is super annoying. These instructions are terrible. That is not hyperbolic. These instructions are actually not conforming to the laws of reality. They work, but not quite in the order they say that they work. Oh, come on. And then I have to remember where things came from. There. There. And then if I have to redo this further to accommodate, like, if this goes wider than 32, which it's looking dangerously close to. I'm going to be super annoyed. I can sometimes accommodate a 1 or 2 stud hangover, but it's tricky to do when I'm not looking immediately at the next set that's going to sit to one side or the other of this. I'll definitely sit this coaster beside I'll definitely sit this beside my pirate roller coaster to some degree. But what goes on the other side of it, I don't know yet. 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Gosh, I bought so many of those road plates. I've even had, like, Amazon will, like, limit you. You can, when they have them on sale, you can only buy so many of them at a time. So back when I needed so many of them, I would literally, like, have a friend order some, and then I'd order some. It's just funny. It's a medium. It's literally a raw material. But I literally have, like, you know, a cubic foot of green plates to support the forest area, so is what it is. All right, so this is going like this. Now they keep making me move this around, which means that I have to keep opening up more and more space here. It's a nice build, though. It's just the instructions that are extremely wonky. And because they're wonky, I'm not going at the kinds of speeds that I'm used to, but it's okay. Oh, like we didn't label this one as speed build. We're just hanging out. We're just chatting. We're just living our lives. I'm trying to think how long it's been since I did a stream where it was based off of rebrickable instructions. It's been a while. I can't think off the top of my head what the last one was. Actually, I think the last one, I know there were 2 of them that we did late in 2025. One of those was the Metal Gear Solid mech, where I had Bagel on just yapping about Metal Gear lore while I was building it. That was kind of fun. But it's definitely been a bit. This is kind of neat. We're making these brick-built Lego words here to say DROP, drop, for drop coaster, which is pretty neat. I'm trying to think if I've had any sets where I've ever used Lego lettering like this to spell a word. I think I have. Oh, you know what? When I did the Daily Bugle, the Spider-Man big building. Speaking of big expensive sets, I think instead of Daily Bugle, I changed it to say something like World News or something like that, which was kind of fun. There it is. Just looking for an annoying little piece there. I hope whatever we're building here isn't supposed to be load-bearing, because it's going to be pretty weak. See another one of those. All right, we're placing our first roller coaster piece. So this is one of the new... Hey, Bagel, welcome aboard. This is one of the new specially curved ones that not only curves, but it actually goes up at the same time. We caught a great camera angle there. Yeah, it's a space-themed roller coaster, and I went on this whole big... I had a lot of thoughts at the beginning of the stream, just in terms of talking about which roller coasters I actually pick for the city and why. Because LEGO has released basically this other... They have like sort of a standard... Oh my god, you should just go listen to the first 14 minutes of the stream and come report back while I keep plucking away at this. I really went off. Yeah. But no, LEGO's released a couple versions. I mean, we actually went through it. We used the pictures and everything. We were really having fun just kind of looking. Here we go. All right. This is actually where the fun begins here. Because LEGO's kind of perfected their small $109 roller coaster set template. This one's a little bit different, but they've now got a template for the idea of this kind of conceptual set that they've now released 3 functionally identical copies of, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't need a lot. I don't need a lot. And every set that I can say no to, every set that I don't feel adds significant value to the city is a victory for the wallets and, more importantly, the space. Or perhaps equally importantly. Depends entirely on who you talk to. But yeah. Folks were asking, I guess last week, about like how I'm actually deciding which sets from the current, 22 that I identified I wanted to build this year am I picking up at any particular day. And I said time, like how much time I have to build that day is definitely a big consideration. But also it's basically just like I was telling Antilles that part of the reason I don't want to do like a spin wheel or whatever is, one, there would be days that I would not have the time to execute whatever thing I was talking about. But two, like I said, sometimes I just get really excited about a particular idea, and it may not be a particularly new idea. Like it may be something that I had quite some time ago. Oh my gosh, stop doing this to me. All right, that one was on me. No, stop. May not be a new idea, but if I can get excited about it and start yapping, that's a good as reason as any to start working. I've got a bad feeling about... Oh, oof. I was looking at this part right here, and I was like, this is already more than 16. This is an 8. So here's 8, 16, 24, 32. So these pieces are sticking out to the side, which I'll remember, but broadly speaking, we're within the 32 wide here. And I was like, please don't exceed 32 wide. Please don't make my life hard like that. Again, it's all about the grid. Again, 32 wide, that's 2 standard units of base plates. Look at this little chunky end rail section here. So basically, this since this is a drop coaster, you go to the top of it, and you drop down, and you do it again. On to the next one. Okay, now we're going to make the drop part. Okay, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with some gas here. So I think what we're doing is we're using these large yellow poles to ensure some stability in the tower here, which is great. Huh. Oh, maybe there's be a slightly smaller pole. Yes, it's these two. That's cool. I didn't know that scaffolding isn't quite the word I'm looking for. There's a word for what this particular item is. Column, something. But I didn't realize that they had stop gaps. Click, in the middle of them to enable this kind of thing, which is actually a super clever design. Helps add structure and stability. I need one of these, and I need a brown 2x2. There we go. Looks like it might be like so. And then we're going to place it with even more structural stability here facing to the left. So I guess this is your approach platform. This is where you hop on to go down the coaster. This one. Well, it's not too wide, but it is going to be deeper than our available build. Well, not really than our available build area, but shall I say, than the amount of available build area I left for myself after haphazardly dumping these out. All these little pieces. I need that one. This one and one of these. Oh my goodness, what are we doing here? This. Little bit structurally questionable here, but that's okay. Okay, next up. Now we're moving on to this little space pod side build, which is super neat because from what I can see of the instructions, our roller coaster cars are actually going to go through this, almost like going through a flaming wheel or something in some other. Why are they doing this all as one? I don't understand these instructions at all. That's fine. Probably like so. Like this. That's a little better. That's better. Two corners. Starting to thin out the parts here a little bit. Where's the other corner? No point in hiding. If you hide, I'll just grab the one from the extra pieces, and you'll never see the light of day again. There it is. One gray dot. This is nice. I'm starting to get to having mostly tiny pieces on the right and mostly bigger pieces on the left. Again, no point in hiding. Where is it? Where is she? There it is. It was on the left because it would be too easy otherwise. So this is here. This, for some reason, is here. These are like so. And now we start the other side. Two, three, four. One, two, three, four, five, 6, and 7. And this is going to be incredibly flimsy until we link it up. There. There. Triangles and another gray dot. I didn't realize there was a second gray dot in the set. Probably over here. This, by the way, is the most distinctive sound of Lego. You guys can't hear it. My mic is not set to that sensitive, but just the shuffling through a batch of parts looking for something you definitely have, but Lord help you if you can actually find it. Which, again, unless I'm, like, building a set out of order or doing something special, we don't really have to do a whole lot of that on the channel. Usually we're just blitzing through some build or another. Now, when we get to the second quarter of 2027, and we start to get to some of the... Actually, I guess the first quarter... of 2027, we're going to start doing some special products, and that's going to be... a good time. Battlefront 2, throwback... What platform were you guys using to play that? All right, I'm stealing from the extra pieces for now. Note to self, stole one from the extra pieces. What platform were you guys playing Battlefront 2 on? That's pretty awesome. Just the 3 of you? The 4 of you? Seems like a pretty good... The 3 of you, I guess? Okay, so we'll put this together. Here's the space pod that they're going to ride through. Yep, Steam. Some mod file and launch the game in a certain way to be playable. Yeah, no, like, definitely have experienced versions of that before. Like, with Galactic Battlegrounds, you have to, like, run some file to be able to play with other people online, which is kind of cool, I guess. What are we doing here? I guess it's like that. That's not very stable. And then we need a riser. Rhizoblide. That sounds fun, though. Did you have a good time? There we go. For the camera, let's look at how that kind of goes. It's kind of neat. You'll be able to get a car through there. And we hook this up to the main build. Yeah, it's pretty neat. That's your line, isn't it? Like this. All right. Now I'm starting to have a little less space here. Yeah, I mean, it's just so natural. It's right there. Got it. So far, this is not as deep. Right? Right, it's right there. So far, this is not as deep as the pirate one, which is good. That's what we want. Up, and time to make it deeper. We need to go deeper. I've done this myself. I have more than enough room for this set. It's just the way that I was careless today. It's going to cost me. Or I guess I could just move all the remaining pieces from the right to the left, but that would be too easy. That would be giving in. That's what they want me to do. Getting there. We're on step 58 of 85. Which is why the part count keeps steadily dwindling. There, I've loosely got enough space. Now I need these white dots, which, like we mentioned, are actually secretly glow in the dark, which is very cool. All right, I think it's time. I'm going to take everything that's not like a super duper tiny piece and move it over here. We're going to take Bikini Bottom and move it somewhere else. I saw that set, Telly. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty cute one, to be sure. I always love talking to folks who pick up various different display-focused LEGO sets because I don't have any of those. Don't really invest since it's all about the city. But it's cool because, like, sometimes I'll go over to, like, every once in a while I'll visit somebody's house or whatever and I'll see one or sometimes 40, like, LEGO plants and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Oh, that camera angle is awesome. It looks like some car on the bottom right. It looks like somebody's going to, you know, just whew, go right through there. There we go. Then if I pull these down here, we just might have enough space to proceed. Yeah, the otters, people like the otters. They got some pretty high reviews, for sure. Some of the natural world models they've been making recently are very attractive. In fact, I was very compelled to get the Hanging Pothos, which, again, that's a display set. But, I mean, I have, like, a couple of Pothos. I really like that plant because who doesn't? I was like, crap, they're speaking, or crud, they're really speaking to my... I see the appeal of this one. 246, 246. Okay, let's see. Have I got enough room to spin this now? Yes, just barely. Not for long, though. I think it's like this. Any funkiness? Not this time. So I now think we're at... This is inches. Where's my measurement in studs. Is this a measurement in studs? Yes, it is. It's not very deep, though. I ordered basically a Lego measuring tape because I often... it's pretty easy to, pick up a piece and go, okay, 6, 10, 12, whatever, like I did earlier in the stream. But whenever I need to measure vertically, bricks vertically, it's actually really annoying to put together a piece like that suddenly. Oh, we're placing lots of roller coaster parts. So I saw that folks were advertising a 2, 3, 4. Well, now I can't see anything over here anymore. 5. A tape measure for Lego that measures vertically and horizontally. And I was like, that's something I actually will use on a more than weekly basis. So I popped one over. Should be useful eventually. One thing that's exciting that's coming down the pipe pretty soon, Coconut Cape is going to release. Let's pull up Coconut Cape real quick. I think this comes out in the next 2 months or so. If you look at the top right here. I'm really excited for this set because it basically, I'm going to use it as the right side of my El Dorado Fortress, which let's pull that up again. No, wait. Is it El Dorado? Nope. What do they call that fortress? Is it Legorado? No, that's a different one. What the hell do they call that set? Whatever. The yellow... I'm excited to add this to something else I have, which is, speaking of things that go on the beach and take up valuable beach area, although this takes up the start of the ocean, it doesn't really take up the beach. But it's an example of something kind of like how I talked about how I don't want to build... Last week I was talking about how I don't want to build that Adventures in Transylvania set when there's something that I'm ultimately going to want to add to it that I know is coming out next year. This was a case like that where I actually built the first thing, and then I've had to have it sitting around forever because I've just been waiting for Coconut Cape to come out to be able to put the sets together. Which you can't always control that, but anyway, I'm excited to be able to finish up that project, which is going to give me a bunch of... It's going to give me 4 more base plates worth, I think, of beach space. And I love the beach. The beach is fun. We like the beach. Here's this. And now we're starting to see the finished profile of the roller coaster. There's a little tilt to this one here. So I'm thinking we need straight curves here. Nope, that's an upward curve. And then is this a straight curve? This is a straight curve. And then this is an upward curve. Yeah, this is a nice compact little... We're still kind of keeping the basic idea of the infinity shape, but minus all the extra complexity. Okay, we need this. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 2. What are we doing here? 2, 3. And then we need this. 2 of these. This. Dark blue here. And this one. Okay, what are we doing? I think this is the drop tower itself that we might now be working on. Yep. Okay. 2 gray clips. I think we've maybe placed 500 to 600 pieces, and there's maybe 200 to 300 left down here. That's my napkin math. Here's one. There's the other one. This one. 2 by 2 square. And then we need a drop and an anti-drop. They're going to look like this. And I can see how we're going to connect this, so that's fine. Both of these. One more of these. One more blue square is over here. Yep. And now some stability. So we have this. 2, 1, 1. This. 1. Another gold grill here. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. There it is. Black 2x4 plate. There we go. Sideways. It's not quite dark yet. It's almost dark. Getting there. This is always fun. We have light bricks here. They have a pin in them so that you don't run out the light when you first buy the set. And then once you use it, you can light that right up. It looks like this time we're making an example of like a display rocket booster to be part of the set, which is cool. Yeah, I mean, Lego is it's a fun outlet. I think it's a nice time that a lot of different types of folks can enjoy in a lot of different contexts. You don't have to just be building a city. Some people want to display some plants, and some people want to, you know, like build some Star Wars battles, which I certainly enjoy myself. And there's a lot of different things you can do. What piece is that? It's this one. This one. That's an interesting choice. This one. And then it looks like we're about to connect something. So I guess the idea is the top of the drop tower is like a launch pad, which is kind of neat. A rocket launch pad. Now, where does this sit? Is the real question. Kind of like that, but I'm not really attaching here. I'll show on the camera. It's kind of loose, but I'm not fully attaching it for now. I need to see what the connection point is. All right, now the bumper cars, or the roller coaster cars. Very fun. Car with Space Baby should coast to the end of the line. What about car with normal baby? We don't ask about car with normal baby. We also don't ask about Carl with normal baby. Where is Space Baby? Where's Space Baby? Space Baby. Okay, now I can see where this is supposed to connect. Which is... Ah! Catastrophe! Okay, let's see. Here, backwards. Oh. Like this. Then like this. Then, go here. Let's flip the POV for a second. Pop this down. This should be able to connect. It does. Lean it back until we have a connection point. We don't have an easy connection point here. We need a turntable, basically. Also don't love this. Those parts are technically under strain. Can move it right here. I might be able to make a slight improvement. I think I see the bare bones of a slight improvement here. But we'll see what I'm left with. What I don't have is a hinge. Oh, great shot of the drop right there. That's neat. So we'll see. Aerial POV. Couple more steps here. Okay, now we have a whole nother side build that it looks like we're gonna do. Step 74 of 85. I guess they wanted us to test the Space Baby right away, so we can try it. Nope, not at that angle. I'm going to take this off for now. That doesn't quite line up where it's currently placed. What are they doing here? Let's see. What if it was like here? That works. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of fun. I'm not a Lego minifigure, so I might have a slightly different interpretation of fun than they do, but it's kind of neat. Let's try that again. Can I take this off here? Yes. Play with this. I think that's what they were going for. There we go. There's a very specific angle where it actually really works. So we have some adjustments that we're going to need to make, but that's... Can't wait to excoriate this set on Instagram eventually. But I do like it. Again, for display and for its general idea, it's pretty good. And again, as I said like a bunch of times, I really do believe space is one of the most popular general theme ideas for roller coasters, so it makes some sense to me. Now, what are we doing as we finish this up? Looks like 1. This will make for a fun me versus play features reel, which I always enjoy making those. Five. Oh, wow. Whoop! I'm throwing things. Get here. I love that the other camera is so clearly showing the drop sign. That's actually pretty neat. It's actually pretty neat. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure that from a play perspective this works very well, but from a display perspective, it's a pretty effective choice for a second roller coaster. All right, 2 of these. So I guess we're alternating colors. Transopalescent blue. Transopalescent dark blue or pearl blue. Very interesting. Then we go yellow, blue. Yellow, blue. Yellow. And then we put this giant flaming sword. And then we put this onto here. And then I guess we put this onto here. And we have this flaming antenna tower thing, which goes in the middle of the build. And actually, that works for me as well. It's nice to have a centerpiece that the thing can roll around. Nice. Okay, now the other cars. This piece. This piece. This one. 2 of these. This is over here. 1 by 1 bricks. Glow in the dark studs. We never used that eyeball. Also, there's a cool little meteorite rock here, space rock, that we haven't used anywhere. Gold pin. There, I found the other gray dot that I'd stolen from the extra pieces, so we're good there. White jumper. Here it is. This is funny. I wonder if these... I'm giving a lot of light to these glow-in-the-dark. So these white dots here, you can't see this very clearly, down here on the right, these white dots are glow-in-the-dark white pieces, which are relatively rare. And they're getting an awful lot of light charged up right. Yeah. Now, when I put my hand over it, I can pretty clearly see. Can I do this on this lower camera? Yeah, you can see they're pretty charged up. So I'm wondering if they're going to be glowing at me all night until I put this away. Wonder if the cat will notice. Okay, this minifigure looks like she's wearing a space jumpsuit. And this cute hair. And then we should have one more cart to make. Nope. That's as far as they go. So let's... That's pretty fun. Let's head back to... What is this set number? Brick Link. This set is number 31142. And what we want to see is Space Roller Coaster. We want to see 6 minifigures. So there's this astronaut helper. With very blonde ponytail. There is this child boy classic space suit with minifigure, floating, and back print, dark azure short legs, reddish brown spiked hair. So it's this with the little legs. He's got a missing tooth and spiky hair, bagel hair. This kid. Gotta have kids for the roller coaster. Here's a dad type. The minifigure's name is Dad. Minifigure Town 477. Dad. Light bluish gray hoodie with dark red shirt, dark tan legs, black hair. Next up. Space scientist. With this hair. And the space baby. And those are our minifigures. Nice. Every good amusement park needs a dad taking the kids around. Let's flip the viewpoint here. POV. Drop this down. Yeah, you gotta have dad. You gotta have a couple of grubby kids ready to cause some trouble. And I guess the employees are dressed up as the scientists. This isn't half bad. So I see some adjustments that I think I'm gonna make here. But the basic concept does work. Let's see if we can get the baby going down here in the background. Probably not. Yeah, we got it. Okay, so this works. I'm actually probably going to leave this parked exactly like it is so I can make my play features review for IG later. But this is fun. I mean, we were able to mess with this. This is going to be an absolute bear to get the remaining parts for, since it's going to extend deep into the ocean and the beach and the boardwalk. But for now, I'm happy we were able to do this. And that is another one crossed off the list. As I drop pieces into the trash, which is categorically the last place we want to be dropping Lego pieces into. That's okay. But yeah, no, it's good. Like I said, I do feel that it was the right choice to pick up this particular roller coaster as opposed to some of the various other options that were available. And I think it's pretty neat. I like it. I like what it's done. And this has been a nice little 2 hours flat stream. Again, only like 800 or so pieces, but definitely a much slower rate when we're working with this much intense detail and paying attention to the effectiveness of the play features and things like that. So I would call this one a success. And if the pipeline goes correctly, in theory, depends on if any of the parts that I'll need for this are non-bestsellers, which if I remember correctly, some of them will be. So maybe a month and a half from now, we'll see the completed version with filled in boardwalk and beach and ocean, a little bit of ocean up on IG. Actually, let's do a measurement here. If I could get, let's see, so this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So here's a 16 yardstick, which is very important, which is kind of our main measurement. Put all these folks in the middle here. So the width is going to be looks like the width might be a hair past 32. But I can change the location of the drop tower to make sure this fits on a 32 base plate. So I'll have to get out a base plate to make sure that this gets down to, let's see, 32 exactly. Again, the tape measure would be so helpful, will be so helpful here. So there's our first part, 16. Then I have one spare stud. Come back over here, and it goes to... Yeah, this is like barely wider than 32. So the width is fine. And then in terms of the length, it's like 33 or 34 or 35. In terms of the length, this is a superfluous piece. So I'm going to just get rid of this right now because it's obstructing my measurement anyway. So we start here. There's 16. Oops, where is it? Remember, there's a method to the madness here. That's 16. I need a 6 long piece, an 8 long piece. Here's 8 more. Interesting. That's 24. So that's our boardwalk section. Let's flip the views again. This far is our boardwalk. So this is barely... This one might not actually extend into the ocean at all, unlike the Pirate roller coaster. Okay, so base plate number 2 starts here and goes here. This is less than 2 base plates deep. That's neat. This roller coaster does not extend into the ocean, which is very helpful for... Very helpful. All right, then. I should write that down. This is basically exactly 32 by 58, which is a great logistical measurement. All right, folks. Well, we talked a lot about why those measurements actually mean anything to me. I've got some cleanup work to do on this set tomorrow, but all in all, not half bad and a pretty good fun time. We'll take a look. We'll ruthlessly mock the play features on IG probably tomorrow, so we'll see that on Tuesday or Wednesday. But thanks, folks, for tuning in. Folks on the YouTube side, if you're watching this later, I hope you really enjoy the diatribe about all the Lego roller coasters available and their pluses and minuses and why we went with the ones that we went with. I guess next stream will be, like I said, 50-50, whether we go live for Guild Wars on Tuesday, but certainly on Wednesday we'll be back for a little bit more Pokopia endgame polishing. In fact, I actually think there's a free Pokemon drop for Phoebus and Milotic on Pokopia on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. So